Bill Maher had Republican strategist Erin Perrine on his show. And in typical Bill Maher fashion, they get into discussions on political topics. And Bill Maher is strange. Sometimes he'll have some real moments of clarity where it seems like he's in the center and he's seeing the mistakes of the Democrats and the errors of the Republicans, and he's calling balls and strikes. But then as he has to make sure that they know he's still down, he's still on cold. He'll go off into these left wing type tangents, and just some of the things that the way he views it is just crazy. But this time he had Republican strategist Erin Perrine on, and she wasn't going to let him get away with some of the what I call Democrat delusion. So we're going to check out this clip of Erin Perrine dealing with Bill Maher, and then I'll get the commentary after the fact. Let's check out how she handled him.
But Biden's thing was the tech industrial complex. So now we got two industrial complexes. And I could add the pharmaceutical, medical one. Right. Oh, we're lousy with complexes. But Biden said today an oligarchy is taking shape of extreme wealth, power, and influence that literally threatens our entire democracy, basic rights and freedoms, and a fair shot for everyone to get ahead. Obviously, we've seen the tableau, we're about to see it at the inauguration. Bezos, Musk, and Zuckerberg are all on the dais. I think this is who Joe Biden is.
Cook, I think, too.
Yeah, and the guy from TikTok. We'll get to that. And, these are all the most powerful men in the world because we want to stick it to the elitists. And I don't think Joe Biden is wrong. I mean, he talked about back in the day, 100 years ago, I remember reading that John D. Rockefeller, I think at one point, was worth 2% of GDP in this country. And they did something about it. They did. They created antitrust. And they...
Ain't it funny how, with Democrats, every time something's no longer working in their favor, it's just such a big deal. Remember they were screaming defund the police 2 years ago? Now they're just so heartbroken about the J6ers and how they assaulted police, while in Seattle and Minneapolis and in Portland, they burned down police stations. Police officers and people were actually, their lives were taken on those days, and you didn't hear a Democrat, not one come out and speak against it. So the hypocrisy is just astounding.
Broke up Standard Oil. I don't see us doing that with this group, should we?
There's always been a large conversation around, especially on Capitol Hill, regulation of social media companies and how you're going to do that in order to not step on the First Amendment. But I find it very difficult for Joe Biden to credibly hold argument about the tech industrial complex when it has so served Democrats up into this point. He talks about the fact that there is extreme wealth and that this needs to be broken up. Democrats didn't have a problem with that extreme wealth when $1 billion was raised by Kamala Harris in under 100 days to be able to try to fuel her to the presidency. Nobody minded extreme wealth then.
Bingo. Nobody cared when she raised $1.5 billion. And also the super PAC raised another $1 billion. The media just likes to run with $1.5 billion. But in truth, there was $2.5 billion that was contributed to Kamala Harris's campaign. And she left that campaign in debt, $20 million. Nobody said anything. All these years that Nancy Pelosi has been making hundreds of millions of dollars. She's worth $270 million. And just coincidentally, she was also the majority whip, the majority leader, should I say. So, coincidence, and she was chairing committees that had decisions that just by sheer luck, the companies that she was invested in, she would get a heads up, and then they would just make these awesome, decisions, and they would just work out for them.
That they didn't mind extreme power when Joe Biden was able to unilaterally pardon his son for over a decade of alleged or convicted crimes. And they certainly didn't mind extreme influence when both the Biden White House and the Biden campaign were pressuring these social media companies to suppress conversations, stories, the Hunter Biden laptop story, people pushing back on COVID that they didn't like. So while we can definitely have a conversation on the overall merits of regulation when it comes to social media companies and the uber wealthy, if you want to, in this country, but Joe Biden has no credibility to carry that argument.
Bingo. How can Joe Biden or any Democrat for that matter complain about the oligarchy, which is concentrated power into the hands of a few, when that's what the Democrats were doing? I mean, it's just crazy when they were suppressing speech on Facebook, on Twitter, on Instagram. Oh, they love the tech industry. It wasn't a technocracy then, but the moment they saw just how crazy and how extreme left that party had went, and they realized the tides were shifting, because they're businessmen too. Let's not get it twisted. They have big global conglomerates. So when they saw the tide shifting, yeah, they hedged their bets. But when they were hedging their bets towards Democrats, there was no problem. But now, all of a sudden, big problem. So I just wanted to show that clip, and get ready. They're about to try to pull out all of the stops. I even heard today some congressman trying to say, Trump took money from another country, after we just have 4 years of proof of the Biden crime family raking in over $20 million to his son, Hunter Biden, who has no business, no experience with energy, with any of that, and was getting millions of dollars. Matter of fact, he was prosecuted for tax evasion on those millions of dollars. He owed $1.4 million for 1 year and like $2 million something for another year. It is not allegedly, he was actually convicted for it and then was pardoned by his dad. So for you to owe $1.4 million in taxes, man, you made some money. To owe 2.3 or 2.4 million in taxes, you made some money. But to watch Democrats now say, technocracy and these social media platforms are too powerful, is laughable. For them to say, oh my God, on J6, the police officers were assaulted, and that is terrible. But they didn't think so during the summer of love of 2020. They haven't thought so since then. They never shed a tear, bat an eye, or be outraged when something bad happens to one of our men and women in the blue. Just like, they love veterans now, while they were kicking veterans out of hotels and out of housing to be able to place illegal immigrants. It's just crazy. But hey, listen, if you like this content, do me a solid. Hit that like button. I'll never ask you for a cash app, never ask you for a super chat. But your like is currency. It helps spread the information around. And if you aren't subscribed to the channel, subscribe. And when you do, hit the notification and select the notification bell that says all. That way, when I upload new videos, you will be notified. On this channel, we share sales strategy and political and current events. So appreciate you for watching. I'm Brian Maxwell. I look forward to seeing you at the top. Over and out.